Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. On today's show, I've got two guests. That's right. One of them is the awesome Australian sensation, Danni Stefanetti, the awesome guitarist and singer. She just won a Josie Award, and she's going to talk about that. She's got a brand new single out that is just doing all kinds of things all over the world. Number one in the UK for 11 weeks straight. A song called You Got Me Thinking of You, and a very talented lady, and her manager, a very talented guy himself. He's a video producer and music producer, manager for Danni, and a good friend. His name is Jeff Panzer. And we're going to talk to those guys coming right here, right now. So here we go. Danni Stefanetti, Jeff Panzer. Here we go. Hey, Danni.
Hi, Gary and Jeff. Nice to see you today.
So it's your birthday, and you're smiling, you're happy. You got your coffee there. Looks like
Yeah, I got
so
my
you're ready
green
to
tea.
green tea. I need some green tea. No, but you're excited, of course. But you should be excited because I heard that you just won a Josie Award. How special was that? You probably haven't stopped smiling since you won the award. Tell me about
It's
that.
a very special night. It was so special as well, winning a music award at the Grand Ole Opry, standing in the famous circle, and just being invited there. I got to hang backstage with William Lee Golden and the Goldens, and halfway through the evening, I was nominated for 6 categories, and my name wasn't getting called out. So I called up Jeffrey. I said, I'm going home. I didn't win anything.
Oh,
I'm going home. I'm done. Bit of a sore loser. The next thing my name gets, or you tell Jeffrey, my name gets called out. I'm like, I won.
She was ready to
And I had to
call a ride home and
I was
everything
ready to
else.
call
And
my
she
Uber.
called. What's that?
I was ready to call my Uber to go home because I was like,
Yeah,
well, I
and
come all this way.
she picks up the phone and she says, "This is just horrible. This is horrible." She says, "I didn't win anything. I think
well,
I have to go home." I said,
oh,
Danny. I said, give it a little. I said, give it a little time. You haven't lost everything already, have you? She said, no. And the next thing you know, she goes, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I think they just called me." And you take it from there.
Yeah, and then I won the award. I went up and said my speech, and the microphone, everybody else was so much taller than me. Then the first thing I did was bring it down to my level.
so why did you doubt yourself so much? I mean, surely you believe in yourself more than that. No, I know how it is though, because you're thinking this is it. This is going to be. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win that, and you have your
Yeah,
hopes up.
I thought like my album would have, like there would have been a few categories, album of the year, EP, and my name didn't, I was nominated for those and my name didn't go out. So I was like, oh, maybe they didn't get to listen to my songs.
I explained, Gary, to Danny. I said, "Danny, be prepared for anything." She said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, in like 1989 or something, I was nominated for a director for MTV Awards for Best Director with a soundtrack. I think one was Boy George, The Crying Game. The other was The Proclaimers. Well, I will walk 500 miles. And the third one was this British R&B singer named Tasman Archer. And they get to the point of the show where they say, now we're going to read you all the people that won for this, that, and the other award, like 20 different categories all at once.
Right.
And before I knew it, within like 20 seconds, I turned to the guy that worked with me. I said, "Did we just lose it all?" He said, "Yeah, we lost everything." And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, this is terrible." And then, your head starts thinking right over your head is this big purple neon light that says loser, loser, loser. I turned to my wife. I said, we got to get out of here. She says, why? I said, I hate losing. And from that day on, it changed my whole attitude that I can't lose, because it was a horrible, embarrassing feeling. There you are with your peers and acts and everything else, and you find out you're a loser. So I said to Danni, anything could happen. Just feel, honored that you were nominated for 6 categories. And
Yeah,
whatever happens, happens. But I said, something tells me you're going to win something.
Right. And she did.
She definitely did.
And you were excited, right, Danni?
I was very excited, and like to win it for vocalist of the year, multi-genre, I was like, wow, okay, because I always saw myself as a guitarist and a songwriter first. So I was like, vocalist, did I get it mixed up in the ballots?
See, that's something to think about.
But
think about that now, and I've been there too. Don't get me wrong. I try to be Mr. Positive all the time, but sometimes it seems like nothing ever happens good, and you're waiting for that big break or that big thing to happen. Maybe you've had some in the past, but you're wanting this to happen, and if it don't happen, you're like, oh. But that's a promising thing, because if you're winning for your vocals, next is guitar. Next, you'll be like,
it made me feel good about my voice. I was like, great, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool? It's something that you didn't think about yourself. See, and that's what happened.
It meant even more. Like, it meant even more that I got it for that, because I was like, wow, that's something I haven't. It's usually the guitar playing.
Right.
So.
Well, how many people were up against you for the vocalist of the year for that award? Was there a lot of people up against you? I mean, did they?
I don't know how many. Is it like over 12,000 that are submitted, or I don't know how many thousands of artists. There's a lot.
I think they ultimately narrow each category down to, it feels like 5 or 6 different artists, and then the night of the show they call out the winners.
Okay, but starting off it was like a lot, and then they narrowed it down to like 5.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just easily, there were 3 people and you're like, they just picked you. You had to beat all these people. There's a lot of people out there. And vocally,
it's the Grammys for independent artists.
That's just so special. That's that has to make you set your goals. You have to have some goals. What are your goals for coming up? You're hoping to get some more nominations and things like that, right?
One of my goals was to win an American award this year, and winning a Josie is an American award. And at the beginning of the year, I won 2 World Songwriting Awards, one for Best Jazz Song and one for Best Music Video for You Make Me Beautiful, that Jeff Panzer actually executive produced on this beautiful Hollywood set. And it was one of those magical moments. He recently started managing me at the time, and he called me one day and said, we've got this set, the artist can't make it, would you like to have the set? And what was it? It was absolutely gorgeous. It was all set up for us. I just basically walked into this magical fairy garden, and they put me down there with a guitar, and I sang the song. And that was over 14 months or so ago now, something like that.
Awesome. And how about your song, You Got Me Thinking of You? Now, I've been seeing online, with the help of Jeff, who's been sharing a lot of your stuff, and it's everywhere. I do see your name like everywhere. I really do.
Oh, wow.
So tell me about your song, your single that's doing so well. Isn't it been #1 for like 11 weeks or something like that in the UK? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, well, I'd particularly like to give a shout out and thank you to Epic Roxy, who I hope you've been taking your dog out for a walk and doing all that, because I feel like she's always voting for me. So I definitely owe her a cup of coffee or something. Because she's always voting for me and Jeffrey and all of my koalas, Donna, Lisa, Mark, and Corinne, Jackie. I'm going to leave someone out, Caden, but William, but basically everybody in Twitter
This is
land.
definitely,
Yeah.
it's funny, Gary, because I come from a label perspective. And at the very beginning, Danny said to me, how are we going to get this all done? And I remember saying to her, listen, do you believe in yourself? She said, yeah. I said, I believe in you. I said, I don't gamble. I don't bet on anything. So, I don't really know, but I just have a feeling you've got something that even though she's blonde, even though she's pretty, even though she could play guitar, there's so much substance behind all that. And she's a real thinking person, besides multi-talented regarding everything that people see her do, sing, play guitar, things of that nature. But also behind the scenes, she produces everything. She makes her own videos. She's a one-man band. I just sit on the sidelines a lot of time in amazement with all the work she does. Plus now she's playing 3 or 4 times a week. So she's really, really busy, but she takes the time to get in touch with the people I give her a list for in the morning and everything else. And it's like she's hundreds of miles away, but she knows that if she wants to make it, these are the things that have to be done, even on an independent scale, because we have to work that much harder, because we're going into this with a mindset that we are a major label, that Danny Land Records is for real. And we happen, in the course of all this, gotten together some great, great people through the internet more than anything else. And this whole team that seemed to have come together for Danny and her music has become like a second family to her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They were sending me happy birthday messages today and videos. Like I was coming out of this strawberry cake that Angel Wings made for me, and like just the thought that they put into, Epic Roxy. They make me fan clubs, and they really promote my music everywhere, and they vote for me on radio stations. No matter what the radio station is, they go and vote and spread my name out. Like that, getting 11 weeks on It Is Now Radio in the UK on the charts, like it's amazing.
Amazing.
And that song is still, we're still sending that to more radio stations, and little kids are now singing it in the UK, and it's been incredible to watch.
Well, like Jeff was saying, though, some people, they get in the spotlight and people might think that's just a pretty face, or that's just a girl trying to be somebody talented. Maybe, they think she's not that talented. Why is she? But then they get to listening to you and hearing your voice. You won the vocal award. You play guitar like amazing. And I was checking out, you have all these effects. I mean, it's not like you're clueless. You know what the heck you're doing when you're recording and making your sound. You know the sound that you want. You guys, so you got an ear for it. You're not just somebody that somebody goes, here's a song, sing this, look pretty, and be quiet. You're behind
a lot of
all of that.
Into it. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of like where I came from, the beach town in Perth. I saw a lot of other musicians that were older than me making psychedelic rock music, and bands that made it, like Tame Impala. We had AC/DC, In Excess, and a lot of other bands come from down there, and a lot of them were producing their own music. They're all male predominantly. They would go out into the wilderness or in the hills, Kalamunda and Fremantle, and make their records from 8 tracks back when there was analog and all that. And I thought, like I was saying with Jeffrey, we used a few different softwares and interfaces and different things going on there. But, I was living on a farm at the time when I produced that album, and we're releasing it as singles, obviously. And we're sticking on one single for a while now because there's no rush and people like to take in a song instead of rushing out an album like they did in the 70s. So it's been a really fun process, like working out how to do horns and strings and playing bass myself. And it's just given me the time to really expand my musical knowledge in the production side. And Jeffrey, you know, he's worked with Stevie Wonder and in Motown and you know, Carney Wilson, and he really wanted a Beach Boys kind of harmonies, and I drew from a lot of the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and a bit of Frampton as well in there. So it's got a lot of elements of my inspirations, but learning how to do it myself as an engineer on the computer and with the recording software, like, was another level. It really pushed me to a place I didn't really think I would be able to do. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, that sounds like the more you know about, let's say, the more you know about singing, the more you know about guitar, the more you know behind the scenes of recording, it's going to help you do better. And then you got a guy like Jeff that's been everywhere, knows everybody. I mean,
yeah, he's sat in the studio with all of the best.
I mean,
it's funny, Gary, because a couple of tracks, I said, I hear horns. She goes, horns? I said, I hear horns. And she goes, Anyway, so I said to her, I want it to sound like Chicago. She goes, who? I said, Chicago. So she all of a sudden, we listened to some Chicago songs, and the next thing you know, she's listening to Chicago, and I tell her it's a 3-piece horn section, this, that, and the other. And she made the sounds like Chicago by the end of it. I was about to really, you know, there were times when it was rough going because she was just learning the whole idea of editing for her own music for the first time. And I said to her, listen, if we don't do it, we're never going to get it done, because I said to her that it's just us. And that's the way we always looked upon it, that we're our own label. So who's going to do it? And within days, she learned how to do it on the computer. She learned how to import sounds and this and that. And she took the diligence and time that it really would take some people, maybe 6 months, a day or two of just watching tutorials and how to work the board, how to work to get the different sound, how to compress it, how to EQ it, how to do it all. And I just, in amazement, watched her. I didn't actually watch her, I listened. So it was even that much tedious for me, because at first, you know, it's like riding a bicycle, but by the third or fourth day, she was doing it. And I mean, we were taking samples from the BBC orchestra for strings. We were taking drums from this place and that place. And if I didn't like the drum sound, I tell her to find another drum sound from another thing. And we used 2 drums mixed together. And she was just doing tracks.
Yeah, we wanted the sound of Rosanna. I remember, like, that drum intro from Rosanna. So we kept playing it to try and find that tone. Yeah.
I told her to listen to Jeff Porcaro at the beginning of Rosanna. Just Jeff Porcaro, the late Jeff Porcaro, is one of the greatest drummers in rock and roll music. And it's unfortunate that he's not here, because you talk about talented drummers. You know, I think of Kenny Aronoff, Liberty DeVito. There's a whole bunch of great drummers out there. Ringo Starr, to say the least.
Sure.
Late great Charlie Watts. There's great drummers. But it was the type of thing that I said, listen to Jeff Porcaro, how he played, because everything happened on the third beat rather than the second beat. And it was sort of like a shuffle type of sound. To a point where I had to listen to Boz Scaggs, the Lido Shuffle song, and it had them on it. and it was amazing how much she was able to take in such a short period of time, that I think from beginning to end of this last CD, I think it might have taken us a month, Danny.
Yeah, the recording process was a bit over 2 weeks, and then we, mixing, editing, we went back and forth within a month or two just to get it all together. Yeah. The first month we pretty much had it recorded.
Wow. And see,
we would get into it actually in some points, Gary. It wasn't just a little harmonious love piece and whatever.
oh, come on.
If she believed, there was this time where she's talking in one of the songs about being in New Orleans, and there was a rhyme that we had to come up with.
Love you, like you.
Yeah.
So
anyway, she in her original scratch track had the word "love you, likey." I said, "What is that, Danny?"
Love you, like.
Love you, like.
It was like, you like to live on the edge, babe. Take me on a trip to the sky, somewhere in the deep south. Got me sweating on some love you, like. I love you, like.
I said to her,
know,
"What
it's a
is
word I made up? Love you, like."
I said, "What does that mean?" She said, "Well, do you have anything better, Jeffrey?" And I said, "Well, you're talking about New Orleans. The word jambalaya fits in there." She goes, "Jambalaya? No, I'm not feeling it. It's just not happening. I love you, like." I said,
no one understands what I'm saying.
So I said, "It makes no sense, though. What are you talking about?" So that went on for like 3 days, and she was adamant. But before we released that single, she will change the lyric, because after a couple of weeks of thinking about it, she said, "I think you were right."
Because it works better now with deep fried jambalaya.
Well,
so
you got to take it.
She does a live in concert, and I watch her, and she's all of a sudden changed it to the jambalaya lyric. So good wins out.
There you go. Well, it's all about communication and understanding and figuring out what's best. But you got somebody that knows a little bit about some things, right, Jeff? I'm just saying,
musically, as far as the technical parts of playing and everything, she's sort of like you, where you can play your bass and everything else. She is so prolific on that guitar. And that's actually what drew me to Danni, was her guitar playing was so exceptional. People say from Jimi Hendrix to Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, she plays how she feels. So every night it's different. So to me, that's like a Jerry Garcia improv on just how he felt that night. That's how he played. Well, that's what she does, and that's how she plays. And I find it totally unbelievable that she's not even thinking about what she's playing. Her fingers are moving, and it sounds great and everything else. And that was the real talent in her guitar playing that I really took notice of.
So how does that work for you, Danni? How does all that just come together for you with your playing style and your abilities? Does it come
just play how I feel. It just feels good to be on the stage and doing what I love every night. So it kind of just comes out of me. Like, the more I get into it, the more I enjoy it. I just love playing my own songs. And then when I do covers, I put my own little spin on them. And guitar's like walking for me now, that it just feels so good to just have a guitar in my hand.
And see, and so you have all this in your mind. Are you pretty strong-willed, though? Because like you were talking about with Jeff, you know what you want to do. But when somebody comes along and has another idea, are you adaptable to that? Or are you like, you're used to doing things your way. Are you? How are you like
No,
that?
I'm pretty strong. I'm pretty strong-willed, but I have got better because we're a team, and I like to. Jeffrey's been in the industry a lot longer than I have, so I like to take on board tips and advice he has, and I feel like I'm a sponge, and I have taken on a lot of advice. But when I write a song, like they come in usually a couple of minutes, and they came up so fast. Sometimes I'll feel really passionately about a certain riff, and I'll be like, nah, we have to keep that in, and he's like, no, I don't think that's. So I think about it for a day or so, and then I sometimes go with what he says, with what Jeffrey says, but then sometimes he goes with what I say.
Well, there's a good balance there. That's good. Well, I've been seeing on your social media, you've been running into all kinds of people, like Kid Rock, and
He's not laughing at that.
he's not. He left.
It's true. It's
He
true.
left. He doesn't. And I'm picturing him talking to you, and you're like holding your hand up, going, Psh, and he's going, but. I'm sure there's other stuff. See, this is called the dirt. See, this is what I like to do. No, I don't like. I like to find out all
I
the
drive
dirt.
him absolutely crazy, Gary.
You
I
know,
drive him absolutely
I'll
crazy.
tell you something, Gary. When I first started working with Danni, I had a conversation with her father. Now, her father managed and was Danni's roadie and Danni's everything for her whole time from when she started to the time she actually left Australia. And her dad is really to the point, very direct, great sense of humor. But when it comes to Danni, he's seen it all. And he said, Jeff, I just one bit of advice. She's a fighter, but she'll come around. Just give her a little time, she'll come around. And I always have that playing in my head when she goes, nope, I don't like it. And I just say, okay, I used to say, well, why not? And we used to analyze it. That it felt like we were in therapy after 2 hours of analyzing through words. But ultimately, she does come around. But going back to your question about hanging out with big stars in Nashville, I saw them too on the internet. I couldn't believe it.
She's hanging out with everybody. It looked like there, right?
Yeah.
How fun was that, Danni?
Yeah, look who I ran into 2 hours later. Look who else I ran into.
How are you running into these guys?
Interesting story. Hey, so
Yeah.
that
Go
was,
ahead.
something else popped up on my Nashville trip. I was only there for a couple of days, just my luck. So, Jeffrey was trying to like plan my Nashville trip for, he wanted to send me out there and make sure it was a really prosperous trip. And that's happened on both of my trips to Nashville, and Jeffrey has been behind it. So this particular trip, I was going over to collaborate, which is a surprise. We were working on something with William Lee Golden, and then I also had the Josie Awards, and I was also on the TV show Rock and Review, which will be aired later in the year with Eric Dale. Really nice gentleman, really great show on Fox 17. And PRS, they lent me a golden PRS SE to use Silver Sky for that week in Nashville. And we had a really good time. And I thought, that was that was everything. That was great. I thought that's a great trip, right? But then we got a call and I got invited to be on I thought I was just going to be attending an Oak Ridge Boys video. Turns out I got featured on the video with a couple of other younger people, and I got to ride there on the Oak Ridge Boys bus.
Wow.
With Dwayne and Joe, and Joe actually said to me, "Hey, Daddy, I heard your new single, and that's your best one yet." You got me thinking of you. I know, and the bus was so extravagant, very filled with the oak, just like the Oak Ridge Boys. And I can't say too much about the shoot itself, but there were a lot of big country legends I got to meet that day, and I can't wait for the video to come out, and also what I worked on with William. That's a
Awesome.
surprise too. But on a great note, I mean, the Goldens, William Lee Golden and the Goldens are performing at the Opry tomorrow, and I heard there's going to be a big surprise at their show as well. So for anybody watching, they should tune in to watch the Goldens at the Opry.
Awesome. All kinds of surprises. And it's your birthday.
Yes.
Well, what about?
Yeah, this is my birthday top.
Very good. It looks good. What about
Thank
your?
you.
Didn't you get a deal with Paul Reed Smith guitars or something like that? Or what? What was I reading about?
Yes, I was a Pulsar artist for a year, and then they got me on the 3 people they picked to be an official PRS artist. So
Awesome.
yeah, I am endorsed by PRS Guitars, and I just absolutely love playing their electric guitars. Awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have played those guitars. Very nice, and you do it so well.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
cable free.
Oh yes, and the cable free guitar, you put them into your guitar jack, and it's a wireless system that I use on stage instead of having cables go everywhere. You can plug it into the pedal board and then one into your guitar, and you switch it on like Bluetooth, and it's amazing. Wow. You can go 100 feet with it.
That's nice. Yeah,
yeah, it's real good.
Because if you like to run around the stage and all of a sudden you at the end of your leash.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're like me, run off the stage and go into the crowd with the guitar. That's even funner.
Yeah, you could run
like
up
do some stage diving, you know.
Yeah, see, there's all kinds of fun at a
exactly
Danni Stefanetti gig. What kind of shows have you been doing lately, and what you got going on with the shows?
Well, apart from the stage diving, I've been doing a lot of local shows out here in California since I got back from Nashville, and it's been a bit of a whirlwind. I've been doing about 3-4 shows a week, and all new crowds up here. We're going into wintertime. It's still really warm and lovely, and I'm looking at a pretty hectic show schedule over the next 4 months, and maybe a bit more recording.
Awesome. What about like a Christmas song? You got a Christmas song up your sleeve anywhere that you're going to play for anybody?
I have written a couple, so maybe we'll sing one. I don't know if we're releasing one, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we can get one of my Twitter fans to wear a Santa hat, and I'll join them for a cameo.
See, there you go. That sounds like a plan. Well, we're talking about, you winning awards and things like that. So that's got to be a motivation for you. So is that, you're going to use that as a motivation and go, I want to do this and I want to do that. Do you have a set plan? I'm sure Jeff probably helps you on that as far as how do you get to this point? There's like a special ladder that you want to climb. So what are the steps to get from point A to point B to point C?
Yeah, we're in this together, and I look at the day-to-day gigs a lot, and he'll give me his advice on like moving forward, and he also is always thinking about the big picture, and I try to like focus on what's right in front of me. And I think awards are really great, and I'm now a Grammys voting member, so I was able to do a for your consideration for the Grammys, which is cool. But hopefully I'll have a better chance next year for the Grammys. And I think the goal, I would love to win a Grammys one day, and also I'd love to play at Madison Square Gardens.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. That's a great goal to have. But in the meantime,
so that's definitely a goal. I want to actually tour New York. I got a lot of fans on the East Coast.
Awesome.
So I've never really, besides Sidewalk Cafe when I was about 18, when you line up and everybody plays it, I've done those kind of things, but I've never played at theaters and performed in New York. So that would definitely be a big goal of mine as well.
Yeah. And running into all these people, these stars that have been there and done that, they could help you out along the way. Especially like we talked about last time. I know Keith Urban Would that be a goal for you and Keith to play together someday in a stadium somewhere?
Yeah, I know he walked past me a couple of years ago in the rain, and then a couple of years, Jeffrey Panzer discovered me online and really had an integral part of the album and Danny Land Records, and so yeah, it was nice to have that moment in time. I look up to Keith as a guitar player. And I also look up to, Peter Frampton, Sheryl Crow, and a lot of there's a lot of great female guitarists coming out as well. And I always obviously looked up to Bonnie Raitt and the Eagles. So, one of my dreams would really to be play on stage with like Joe Walsh. That's really a big dream of mine. So, maybe the Stones. Let's aim high. I'm going to say I want to play with Paul McCartney or one of the Stones.
Go for it. Hey, you gotta aim high. That's the only way you're going to make it.
That's what I told
Just
her,
if Keith Richards is still going, I want to play with Keith Richards.
There you go. He's 150 years old, but he's still doing it. Well, Jeff has worked with the Rolling Stones a little bit, right, Jeff? So you might can pull some strings or something, right?
I don't know if the strings could get that far anymore.
Keep pulling.
But we're trying every avenue that you can think of. No soldier left behind. We're just not taking any prisoners. And talking about...
I forgot another name that I really want to do a duet with one day.
Who's that?
I don't even think I've told Jeffrey this. Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz, yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's an awesome guitar player, yeah.
Cool.
Singer.
Great. And on the bass, yeah.
Yeah, I think he plays all these instruments. I think he's a really good guy. Really good.
I really love the vibe of his sound. Yeah.
And you were saying, Jeff?
I forgot. I'm into now Lenny Kravitz and everything else. And she plays actually a couple Lenny Kravitz tunes in her set and does a magnificent job doing it. Tomorrow night, the Goldens make a triumphant return at the Opry in Nashville. If you could be there, great. If not, please listen to it on the radio. And also the following week, William, Chris, and Rusty are heading home to Bruton, Alabama. So those of you in Alabama, around Alabama, I'm sure it's going to be quite a family affair with 3 generations, and maybe William can get his sister up there again and have, quote, the original Goldens, Lynette and William, and also singing with their sons and singing with the grandchildren. That's an event.
Awesome.
If I could just say, please go out and see that show.
Yes, you can. And I will post that. I'll make a special little clip for that. But that's going to be great. Yes, sir. That's going to be a great time. And talking about goals, one day we're all going to get together with William Lee somewhere and jam and listen and play, and who knows what we'll do, right? I've got goals too. Hey, but I believe, unlike Danny on that fateful night where she didn't believe in herself, I believe that she is going. Hey, I'll make a prediction for you that there going to be some big awards for you in the near future. So keep holding on, and I think that's
thank you.
Very
I'll
soon.
hold on to that, Gary. Thank you. I will. I'm going to believe that.
Oh, believe it. Don't ever doubt, because that little monster doubt, like a dark cloud, comes along and jumps on you sometimes, and you got to keep look at all the positive stuff,
Yeah,
so.
you do, definitely.
Aren't you a Journey fan?
I'm big time Journey fan.
All right. So as Steve Perry would say, and Neil Schon, don't stop believing.
That's what I would say too. Never. Don't stop believing. That's
I follow you. I follow you now, man. I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, hey, I mean, that's a big compliment. I appreciate it. That's what's so cool about this interview and y'all two together. When you've got good people to work with and people that actually care, and experienced people, you've got people, with your knowledge and her talent together. It's not like you're in it for yourself. it's a team, and that's what accomplishes stuff. And I think that's what's going to be the reason why y'all do some big things. I want to be there in the middle somewhere, smiling, But but I thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for
thank you,
talking.
Gary. Thank you for having us on again, and thank you for all you've done to support my music.
Yes, ma'am. And
Thank you,
happy
Gary,
birthday.
thank you for your friendship.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff. And I'll be posting this soon. Go get you some cake or something. Don't be too hard on her. And it's her birthday. Don't be telling her what to do for at least 24 more hours.
She's working tonight, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
On your birthday. Is that double pay? Are you getting double pay for that?
Birthday show. Yeah.
Okay.
So she doesn't stop. She doesn't stop, and she does. She has more, like, deep down inside. She has this this drive, desire, and dedication. I call it the 3Ds in life. Danni has that, and that is what's going to make her stand out among the rest and be the best she can be, because she doesn't stop. I drop and she's still going at it. The next morning I'll wake up and she'll redo something. And tenacious, I'm tenacious. She puts me to shame.
Awesome. That's so good.
Well, thank you, guys.
All right, Gary, you go to your next interview. Thank you.
Or thank y'all. I'll be posting this. I'll get in contact with y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, the great couple of people right there, Danni Stefanetti and Jeff Panzer. Be sure to check out Danni's music, some great songs. Check out her website and on YouTube, and order some of her music. Great, talented lady there. And Jeff Panzer, look into him. The guy is very talented. And thanks for listening. And until next time, everybody, this is Gary Stuckey saying, whatever you do, keep the music real.